Modi government, Modi government, BJP, BJP, राहुल के हत्यारों को गोली मारो, राहुल के हत्यारों को गोली मारो, राहुल के हत्यारों को गोली मारो.
Heartbreaking and volatile images of protests are there from the Kashmir Valley. This after the terrorist killing, murder of Rahul Bhat, a government employee in the Kashmir Valley, a pandit, yet another targeted attack on the religious minority that has been talking about a homecoming for decades, but every time a tragedy, a terrorist assault like this hits the headlines, we are set back perhaps in that process by multiple years. To talk about Rahul Bhat, we are going to be speaking to three Kashmiri Pandits who are going to be sharing their sentiments, their anger, their sorrow, their sense of loss, their sense of frustration, their own personal lives. But first, let's bring you the images of a young, smiling Rahul, whose life was cut short so cruelly. We've all seen these pictures overnight, and let's please play these images of Rahul. According to his wife, Meenakshi, he repeatedly asked for a transfer out of the valley into a safer environment of Jammu, but this did not happen. Remember, there are 1,600 Kashmiri Pandit employees that have been posted to the valley as part of the Prime Minister's special economic package. Now, to talk about that rage that we saw on the streets, and we also saw protesters being lathi charged, being tear gassed, and we'll have those images for you as we go along in this conversation. Let me introduce our guest today. We're joined by author and writer and a friend of mine, Sidharth Gigu. Sidharth and his father have often been on this platform to talk about their own personal enforced exodus that took place along with their community, and have always spoken from the heart about their acute sense of loss and cynicism and the end of hope, as it were. We're also joined by today a Kashmiri Pandit who is one of those 1,600 Pandit government employees. We have, for obvious reasons, for his own security more than anything else, protected his identity. So we're just going to call him Manish. Thank you, Manish, for joining us at a time when you must be very, very disturbed. And also joining us is Dr. Sandeep Mawa. Sandeep has been trying to talk about reconciliation in the valley, but Sandeep's own store came under terror assault just a few months ago when one of his staff members, in fact, a Kashmiri Muslim, was killed in an attack that Sandeep believes was meant for him. So thank you, all three of you. And before I start the conversation, I want to take you through some of the images that we've seen from the valley and how we have seen tear gas and lathi charge. And, you know, you are seeing those images of that tear gassing there. We even have reports that one of the Pandit protesters actually fainted. We are also getting reports that the Pandits have now threatened mass resignations unless they are transferred to Jammu. So there's a lot to talk about here. And I'll start with you, Sidharth. A terrible sense of deja vu, of course, a horrible sense of deja vu. At a time when the issue of Pandits has been in the national headlines, this happens, and it happens again and again and again. I can't even imagine what all three of you are feeling today. I'll start with you, Sidharth.
Barka, how I'm trying to make sense of these visuals. These are not just visuals in terms of the brutality with which the state, and when I say state, I'm calling out the Prime Minister and the Lieutenant Governor. They must have seen this, right? And I wonder what they're thinking. I mean, this is the government which had one page about Kashmiri Pandits rehabilitation right in before 2014 on their manifesto, first time. And this is the government and the Prime Minister Every Shivratri wishes Kashmiri Pandits in exile. And now this is what happened yesterday. The absolute uh, apathy of the government and the authorities to protect Kashmiri Pandits. It's not the first time something like this has happened. There were clear warnings, which we now know. But a horrible experiment gone wrong. Now, this is not even irony. I'm just trying to understand what this is. So, um, this is 4,000 people who are Kashmiri Pandits, young Kashmiri Pandits, who are the government has exploited their condition and forced them to work there with no assurances of transfer, security, protection, which we now know. And now this is now twice exiled. I mean, this is neither homecoming, and this is a community member who is. This is a signal, a clear signal that never ever will we allow Kashmiri Pandits in Kashmir. So this killing is like that. And this young fellow Rahul Bhat, I imagine myself, what would I have done uh, if I were one of the employees serving under the so-called Prime Minister's uh, employment package? And what sort of a phrase this is, Prime Minister's employment? I mean, is this supposed to be like that? Second, of course, it brings back horrifying memories of what happened in 1989 and 90. The only difference is that right now we have Kashmiri Pandits on the road, helpless in Kashmir, in Srinagar, in many parts, and they are being tear gassed, and they are being dealt with such brute force. Wherein, I mean, this is the call. This is the time of empathy, wherein the government should talk to them and kind of give them assurances. How do I even process how what I mean as a journalist also, or as people who are human people? How do we understand this? What is happening in your own country? So I don't understand what has happened today. I wonder the government has any sense with which to look at this and to face Kashmiri Pandits.
Can I ask you why today you call out the Prime Minister? You say when you talk of the state, you
Yeah.
call out the Prime Minister himself. Why is that? Because in a way, I think you're saying that the kind of Shivratri greetings, the other sort of things that the government tries to do in a social or community outreach to Pandits, it means nothing if the
No,
Pandits can't be secure at home.
it does not mean anything. Absolutely. Uh, Recently, I mean, very recently, the Prime Minister was in Jammu Kashmir, right? We all know that. And so many other dignitaries have been, BJP top level functionaries have been. What did they do? I don't think they even mentioned us for that matter. Did they meet these people who are there? Why I'm saying it's very important, Barkha, because they won an election on that one page. Kashmiri Pandits are not the vote bank, but the majority of Indians voted BJP because they saw that one page and they thought that this is the person who cares for Kashmiri Pandits. This is the for the first time. Yeah. But secondly, I'm saying, what about the governor, the lieutenant governor? All I saw his tweet, and it's the repeat Kadi Ninda, right from Rajnath Singh. How, I mean, for God's sake, we are losing people for no fault of theirs. I mean, the people don't have a sense of belonging. हम यहाँ के हैं या वहाँ के हैं. Their parents live in Jammu and in camps, and they are in camps in their own land, their own ancestral land. How do you view this? How do you kind of critique this? How do you understand this? How do you make sense of it?
Yeah.
I think
I
no idea.
Yeah, and we're seeing the images of others who have been taken from the community in terror attacks in recent times. Sidharth and Manish and Sandeep. Sandeep's shop was one of those targeted in recent times. And one of the things that was said by the wife of Rahul was that her husband wanted a transfer out of the Kashmir Valley to Jammu, which is now the demand that is being made by all 1,600 Pandits who have been, in fact, posted to the valley under the Prime Minister's own special economic package. I'll come to Manish, who's a government employee himself, a Kashmiri Pandit, right after this. But first, I just want to play out for you what a devastated wife, Meenakshi, married to Rahul Bhat, said after her husband was killed in a horrific targeted terror killing.
मैंने इसको बोला था तो नौकरी ही छोड़ दे, हमें नौकरी ही नहीं चाहिए, नहीं चाहिए थी हमें नौकरी, अब यहाँ पे ही खुश थे, अब काम भी खा लेते, मगर इसने नहीं माना, बोला मुझे दफ्तर है, मुझे दफ्तर है, मेरी फाइलें पेंडिंग है, मेरे को फाइलें पूरी करनी है, मैं क्या करूँगी, अब कौन सी फाइलें देखेगा वो।
आपको पहले पता चला, पहले कभी बोला था?
कुछ नहीं बोला था, कुछ भी नहीं बोला था, उसके सारे बहुत अच्छे थे, सारे उसके साथ अच्छे थे, बोलता मुझे कोई नहीं नुकसान पहुंचा सकता, मुझे सारे बहुत वहाँ पे इज्जत करते हैं, सारे इज्जत करते हैं, मगर उन्होंने भी नहीं बचाया, किसी से तो पूछा होगा उन्होंने कि ये क्या है क्या नहीं है, उनको कैसे पता चला यहाँ पे ये है, जानते थे सारे, मगर सब नहीं बोल सकते थे उसको इतना अच्छा है, इतना अच्छा है, और रास्ते में जाता था तो सारे उसको सलाम करते थे, बोलते थे तेरे बगैर बड़गाम अधूरा ही लगता है, तो चाडुरा क्यों गया।
So, what do you say to a wife who is asking the all important question, how did the terrorists know where he was? Suggesting in subsequent comments as well that there was an inside informer. Now, we don't know right now kya sach hai, kya jhoot hai. Manish, if I can bring you in, Manish is joining us with his camera off. Manish is not his real name, but he's a Kashmiri Pandit. He's a government employee like Rahul. Manish, aaj aap गुस्से में है कि you're fearing for your life?
I just saw these images of Rahul's wife and I'm sort of numb, choked, I have a lump in my throat. I just came out of a protest. We had organized a protest here in Anantnag. All of the PM package employees were on the streets. You must have seen those pictures.
We have those pictures. Yes, go ahead. Go ahead, Manish.
Around 6,000 Kashmiri Pandit employees are working here under Prime Minister's special package for Kashmiri migrants. The package started in the year 2009 and 10. And the employees, the Kashmiri Pandit employees, they were promised so many things. As I had already mentioned in that October interview with you, when the targeted killings happened in October also, there were many promises. There were promises of security, there were promises of accommodation, all sort of things. So the package started in 2009-10, 12 years down the line. Not a single promise has been fulfilled by the government in respect to security, in respect to providing accommodation, in respect to putting up pandits who are posted in far-flung areas to nearby headquarters. Nothing has been fulfilled. In respect to the accommodation, now there is no point of accommodation now. Accommodation को करना क्या है? The employees, the Pandit employees are being killed in their offices, in their working hours. Can you imagine? There is no point of accommodation now. When I talked to you in October, I was pressing more on that accommodation part. The extent of that semblance of security हमें मिलेगा. When I go back to my place, मेरा accommodation है, वहाँ पे security रहेगी, तो मेरे में एक थोड़ा that sense of security रहेगी. But there is no point of accommodation now. We are being targeted right in our offices.
Yeah. So I know that one of the demands that has been made by the protesters, and you were also protesting, is to transfer out of Jammu. But first, I want you to comment on these images that we're seeing, the lathi charge and the tear gassing of all of you.
As Sidharth already mentioned, he's not able to process these images. You see, I would say the government of India, the government functionaries, and here in the UT administration, they don't have an iota of idea. They can't even comprehend the enormity of it. कि किन हालातों में ये employees यहाँ जी रहे हैं, वो comprehend ही नहीं कर पा रहे हैं. They can't even comprehend. So empathy is a far off thing.
तो वो जब टेयर गैस और लाठी चार्ज आज हुआ, मनीष, आज जो टेयर गैस और लाठी चार्ज हुआ,
you see the kind of brutality. Those Kashmiri Pandit employees, they were trying to vent, they were trying to express to administration कि ऐसा हो गया हमारे साथ, आप हमारे पास आइए, हमसे बात कीजिए. वो क्या मांग रहे थे आपसे? उनके हाथों में बंदूकें थी? Were they armed? Why were they lathi charge? Why were they tear gas? This is happening in 2022. Can you believe it? This is all happening under Prime Minister Modi's watch. We pinned our hopes on him, but what he did to us, क्या मजबूरी है उनकी? जो ये दूसरी पार्टी
उनको क्यों directly, both you and Sidharth have named him directly. I want to understand why, because what we are seeing in these images is police mishandling, local administrative sort of excess force. Why have both of you invoked the Prime Minister? I want to understand, and I think it's important for our audience also to understand, Manish.
See, there is a history behind it. You know, we lived in a camp, Muthi camp, for 16 years. When Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee won that election, I remember I was a little kid. There was euphoria in the entire camp. भैया Prime Minister Vajpayee जी आ रहे हैं, कोई connection इनके साथ पहले से कि भैया something, they will do something for us. There was euphoria, लोगों ने मिठाइयाँ बांटी. I was a little small kid. I vividly remember that. Prime Minister Vajpayee came, 5 years went down the line, nothing done for us. In Jammu, we were living in those killer dome quarters. कुछ नहीं हुआ. फिर hope spin हुई, हाँ जी, Prime Minister. Somebody is a savior across the community. We were just there was a sense of कि अब कुछ होगा, something will happen. And 8 years down the line, आप मुझे बताइए, you any government जो हमारा administration है, local administration है, चाहे central का administration है, state का administration है, let them come, anybody of them, वो हमारे पे contest करे कि what have they done in the past 8 years for Kashmiri Pandits. They say we gave them domiciles. हमने 370 हटा दिया. But what has changed for us in Jammu and also in Kashmir? आपने ये 6000 लोग यहाँ पे आपने लाए, इन्होंने यहाँ पे भरोसा किया, आपने इनको बोला हम आपको फिर से लाएंगे, यहाँ बसाएंगे, रिहेबिलिटेट करेंगे, ये करेंगे आपके लिए, वो करेंगे, इन्होंने यहाँ पे भरोसा किया. But what have you done? आपने उनका ट्रस्ट ब्रीच किया. वो अब आपसे गुहार मांग लगा रहे हैं, वो प्रोटेस्ट कर रहे हैं, दे आर प्रोटेस्टिंग कि लिसन टू अस, आप हमारा क्या चारा करोगे, हमारे साथ क्या करोगे. और उसके बावजूद उनके साथ क्या किया जा रहा है, उनको लाठीचार्ज किया जा रहा है. क्या मजबूरी है सरकार की? अब व्हाट इज द मजबूरी? Why can't they shift these odd 3,000-4,000 employees to Jammu until the security scenario improves in Valley? What is their intention? ये तो modified intention है, government come clear on it.
हमने तस्वीरें तो देखी, लेकिन अगर आप वो आवाज सुने टेयर गैस की और देखिए अपने मतलब not just watch but also listen. Before I come to Sandeep, I just want to play those visuals again, this time with the sound up, to give you a sense of what was happening in the valley today as the lathis and the tear gas came on the Pandit protesters. So you're seeing some sense of the build-up, and eventually what happens is that the police decide to resort to tear gases. Watch this. Sandeep, I want your thoughts on these images that we just saw. Sandeep?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Yeah, go ahead with your thoughts. Yeah.
See, Barkha, what I see, it's a complete betrayal of the administration. These guys are the target points. Empathy should be from the administration, not tear gases, these bamboo sticks. This is something very unfortunate. We literally feel, I've been trying hard for reconciliation, and somebody, a right-wing government, doing this to the nationalists who are keeping alive Kashmir for you. This is unfortunate. I literally feel betrayed today by my own people, by my own government. Not only that, but some element in the bureaucracy and in the administration don't want Kashmiri Hindus to settle down. I've been analyzing it down the line from last 4-5 years, and especially from 2019. There are some elements who don't want Kashmiri Pandits to settle down. So these people should be identified, taken to task, and of course those elements in the system who are completely ignoring Kashmiri Pandits, they have not been attended properly. They needed empathy. They need small issues. See, they are keeping Kashmir alive for you. They are the fodder for the national politics. This is not the treatment that should have been meted to them. I literally feel betrayed.
Yeah. You came under attack. Your shop was targeted by terrorists. Your colleague was then, his life was lost. He was a Kashmiri Muslim. You believed, rightfully so, that you were the target because this was happening in a series of, as part of a series of attacks on Pandits and other religious minorities. But at that time, when I interviewed you, Sandeep, you told me, मैं छोड़ के नहीं जाऊंगा. ये मेरा घर है. मैं छोड़ के नहीं जाऊंगा. Today you have Manish and others saying, हमें please यहाँ से जाने दीजिए जम्मू तक. Sandeep, today also would you say कि आप छोड़ के नहीं जाएंगे?
See, Barkha, I told you, I am not going to leave this place. We need a solution. I was in Udhampur when my dear Kashmiri Pandit Rahul was assassinated. I came all the way. I am right now in the highway. I met people. I met those Kashmiri Pandits in Vesu. Then I was in Matam. Now I'm going to this camp, Sheikhpura. See, there are elements who don't want Kashmiri Pandit should come back. There are elements. Minuscule though. Majority today gave a clear signal that they are with us. Muslims have totally supported today. There were 300 Muslims right in this Vesu, supporting us, consoling us, giving us empathy, which was the role of the center government and the district administration and the LG administration. But anyways, I still request my guys, let's find a way. We have to find a solution. The running is not a solution. Temporary, yes, yes, they can go to Jammu. There can be a pause. But ultimately, we need to find a solution. We can't keep this hanging every time.
Well, at the moment, you have Pandits sitting on the road, refusing to go till their three demands are met. Kashmiri Pandit protesters, we have those images. Let's show you those images because basically they have three demands. Of course, that Rahul Bhat's family should be adequately compensated. But also that these 1,600 employees should be transferred to Jammu. These are the key demands. And we also have one of the women protesters actually going on record to threaten mass resignations. And we'll put that question to Manish in just a moment. But first, let's play out for you this warning that is coming from the Pandit community that unless something changes, 1,600, at the very least 1,600, maybe more Pandits are now saying that they will leave their jobs. Listen in.
यहाँ पे सर गए थे, एयरपोर्ट ब्लॉक करने के लिए गए थे क्योंकि हमारी डिमांड थी कि एलजी साहब यहाँ पर आएंगे, बट वो नहीं है। अब यहाँ से हम लोग पीसफुल प्रोटेस्ट के लिए ही जा रहे थे, वहाँ पे ब्लॉक करने के लिए जा रहे थे, जैसे हम यहाँ पे बैठे हुए हैं। लेकिन उन्होंने वहाँ पे लाठीचार्ज स्टार्ट किया और ये कहा है कि टेयर गैस चलाए, ये बोल के कि हमने उन पर पत्थराव किए थे, इस वजह से उन्होंने मारा, जबकि पत्थर यहाँ से किसी ने नहीं मारा। पत्थर मारना होता तो कल से मारा होता या कुछ किया होता, जैसे हमेशा कश्मीर में होता। नहीं जाएंगे सर, डिमांड पूरी करनी चाहिए ना उनको, हमारे पास कोई सिक्योरिटी। हमने सर सुबह से बोल दिया हुआ है कि हमारे पास, हम या तो मास रेजिग्नेशन करेंगे या तो हमें जम्मू में जॉब प्रोवाइड कीजिए।
हम या तो मास रेजिग्नेशन करेंगे या हमें जम्मू में जॉब प्रोवाइड करिए। दीज आर वुमेन हु आर सिटिंग ऑन द रोड एंड सेइंग हम नहीं जाएंगे, आप टेयर गैस खोल दीजिए, आप लाठी ले आइए, हम नहीं जाएंगे। मनीष, आर दीज मास रेजिग्नेशन सीरियसली बीइंग कंसिडर्ड?
Yes. Because I've talked to many of the employees across many transit camps. They have signed on a paper. See, Barkha, I will tell you one thing. We always talk about responsibility and talking about a plan. कोई फैसला करना है, कोई कैसे करना है, वो किसने करना है? Who has to do this? We are here. हम लोग 6,000 employees यहाँ 12 साल से नौकरियां कर रहे हैं। सुबह से शाम तक we are in our offices providing services to the people. The responsibility of securing our lives, giving us everything that they have promised is squarely on administration, on central government, state government, UT government. हमें क्या करना है? आप हमें बताइए एम्प्लॉइज को, हमें क्या करना है? हमें क्या बुलेट्स फेस करनी है? आप बता रहे हैं कि हमने 12 साल तक इनको होप दी, गवर्नमेंट के हम यहाँ पे एम्बेसडर्स बने, 12 साल से। और आप देखिए पीएम पैकेज की सुपेंद्र कौर उनको मारा गया, दीपक चंद को मारा गया, राहुल जी को मारा गया। तो हम पे क्या रिस्पॉन्स है? हमने क्या करना है? हम तो अपनी ड्यूटियां कर रहे हैं, ईमानदारी से कर रहे हैं, 9 to 5 कर रहे हैं। हमने अपने घर छोड़ दिए, जम्मू में हमारी फैमिलीज है, वी हैव लेफ्ट देम। आवर पेरेंट्स आर ऑलवेज वरीड अबाउट, उनको बेचारों को एलिमेंट्स हो गए, दे आर सफरिंग विद सो मेनी डिजीजेस। हम यहाँ पर हैं, हमारे पास रहने को नहीं है। संदीप जी नोज वेल, एंड गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया ने एडमिट किया है, होम मिनिस्ट्री ने इन द पार्लियामेंट, दैट 6,000 हमने इनके लिए अकोमोडेशन बनानी थी, बट वी हैव फेल्ड। वी हैव ओनली बिल्ट 500 अकोमोडेशन इन 12 years। अब अकोमोडेशन का तो बात ही नहीं रहा, देयर इज नो पॉइंट ऑफ अकोमोडेशन, वी आर गेटिंग टारगेटेड इन आवर ऑफिसेज। व्हाट गवर्नमेंट हमें बताइए ना, हमें क्या करना है? गवर्नमेंट शुड कम क्लियर ऑन देयर इंटेंशंस, उनके क्या इंटेंशंस है? इसका मतलब उनके मेलिफाइड इंटेंशंस है, दे आर ऑर्गेनाइजिंग दिस मैसेकर। ये तो गवर्नमेंट ऑर्गेनाइज कर रही है।
Why would they? I know
अच्छा,
you're
what is
right, but
stopping?
why would they?
What is
Why
stopping
would
government
why
to?
would any government do that? Why would any? I understand you're very upset, but why would any government do that, Manish?
What is stopping them to give us a breathing period? We are asking for transfers. We will do our jobs in Jammu government offices. What is the मजबूरी क्या है गवर्नमेंट की? इतनी बड़ी मजबूरी क्या है? तो कोई रशिया के प्रेशर है, रशिया या यूएन का प्रेशर है कि भैया इन एम्प्लॉइज को आपने वहीं रखना है जब तक इनको एक एक करके नहीं मारा जाएगा। आप बताइए हमारी क्या गलती है? व्हाट इज आवर फॉल्ट? मैं जनरली आपसे पूछ रहा हूँ, हमें क्या करना है? गवर्नमेंट हमें बताए ना, हमें क्या करना है? हमें नौकरी करनी है, हम नौकरी कर रहे हैं, 12 साल से कर रहे हैं, 9 to 5 जॉब, और पूरी इंटीग्रिटी से कर रहे हैं। तो आप हमें बताइए हमें क्या करना है? या तो गवर्नमेंट की मंशा क्या है? गवर्नमेंट शुड कम क्लियर ऑन दिस, give us on a white sheet what have they done for us and what are they going to do for us. They have to take steps.
Yeah,
we gave them a grapevine, we gave them a hope. हमने 12 साल से हम यहाँ नौकरी कर रहे हैं। We are living in 95% of the employees are putting up in rented accommodation across the Kashmir Valley. ये हमें एक कमरा नहीं दे पाए 12 साल से। तो हम क्यों इनके सहारे रहे? Why should we die? Why?
मैं दोबारा दिखाना चाहती हूँ that the pandits are doing a sit-in। ये आपने देख तो लिया कि वो टेयर गैस और लाठी चार्ज हुआ, लेकिन अभी आपने वो सुना, यू हर्ड फ्रॉम अ यंग वुमन, हम यहाँ से नहीं हिलेंगे। राहुल भट्ट की तस्वीर है सामने और उनके आगे बिल्कुल सड़क पे धरना दिए हुए कश्मीरी पंडित बैठे हैं धरने पे, और वो कहते हैं कि आप हमें जम्मू भेजिए। सिद्धार्थ, दिस इज एन वेरी क्रूअल आयरनी दैट पंडित्स हैव फॉट to go home and now those who are there want to leave. This is the cruelest irony, Sidharth.
No, I think let me revise my thinking. This is humiliation. So what has happened today is that I feel humiliated, and more than me, the government should feel humiliated. They should really feel humiliated, especially the Prime Minister should. I remember his speeches, lofty speeches, during the rallies those days, 2014 election, because of that page, it was beautifully, it really gave us hope. Okay, and among our community there are hundreds of thousands of Kashmiri Pandits who really looked up to him, because they said, here's the first person who's actually given us space on the manifesto. I'm repeating this, but what has happened today is humiliation, and the Prime Minister should feel humiliated, because he identifies himself as a Kashmiri Pandit when he wears that Feran on Shivratri and he wishes everybody. That is one. Second is that to add to what Manish is, for instance, saying, what was the government doing? Not just the Prime Minister, what the entire BJP top leadership, what were they doing for the past 2 months? I'll tell you. They were promoting a movie. And look at the irony. Look at last 2 months, almost the entire world, Kashmir Files, Truth of Kashmir, blah, 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 promoting, giving tax exemptions. Everybody is feeling despite the corona wave in North India, people are going to cinemas and watching it. Okay. There is euphoria in the fourth. I mean, I watched the movie with my parents. Everybody is crying, my own friends are telling me, oh my God, did you have to go through that? That was the awareness in India. Your own friends, you had to go through that, Sidharth. Because here is this movie, it's like the government was doing that, promoting a movie. It is not even beyond irony, Barka. I mean, they knew, na, unko to government ko movie nahi dekhni hai to know the real truth. They were part of the whole thing. So that is the government's priorities. They promote a movie. They say, yes, of course, this is, and no action. Government is not supposed to do all this movie promotion. Government is supposed to take they should meet those people I mean, they should appoint a ministry for this under prime minister. They should say that now there is this officer with the cabinet rank. He's going to look after the Kashmiri Pandit affairs. This is a wound on the history of modern India. What happened today? It is humiliation. क्या किया इन्होंने? I mean, yesterday Rahul Bhat got killed, and the people who demand basic security are being lathi charged. And I was listening to that blast of that tear gas canister. My God, this is going to haunt India for the rest of the. What about those so-called people who were also promoting the movie last 2 months se? What happens to basic empathy, Barka?
Yeah, I want to hear those tear gas shots again and then get Sandeep to respond because I think what I'm really hearing in your voice is there is the fear and the rage that happens when Rahul is killed in a terror strike, and then the pundits come and they sit on the road and they protest, and then they have to face lathi charge and tear gas, and that's what you're calling the ultimate humiliation. So let's take another look and hear what it sounded like to be a Kashmiri Pandit protesting in the valley today.
Barkha, understand. Somebody has been killed, targeted. The people around, the friends around, the employees around need to vent something. At least they could have been heard. They were just marching. Within 20 people were there, and they were beaten. Tell me, is this the treatment that should be meted to a nationalist? Is this a treatment? Is this civilized? And somebody, because of them, you got voted to power. Is this that is to be done to these guys? I said, Barkha, my simple understanding is I feel betrayed. I have no more words to say more than this.
Yeah. Sidharth, I want to go back to you and then give Manish the last word. You know, often when we've spoken, we have played pictures of you and your father, your family from the old days. And I just want to go back to some of those images to remind our audience that there is a slice of history here that hasn't been honored or acknowledged. Siddharth, these are images of your personal sort of life, as it were. I think we have a few more. Um, do you ever think about going back today, or is that a very strange thing for me to even talk about homecoming on a day like this? But I have to, because at the end, what is this all about? This is all about when the Pandits can go back safely with security to their home.
All the time, Barka. I know my father is of a different opinion. I know what he means that go back where, even now at the face of this. But I want to go there. I don't know how. I don't know where, but I want to. I want to reclaim my. Otherwise, I'm letting a government dictate my choice and the choice of my parents and grandparents, especially. My grandfather wanted to die there when he died in uh, Jammu, a horrifying death after battling Alzheimer's. He wanted to die there. He told us many times. He said, "अगर वहीं पे ले जाओ." Lot of the people
Yeah,
that
I
Rahul
think I
is
remember.
second generation now. Rahul is
Yeah.
second generation. You know.
Yeah, but I want to end. I was just remembering you had once told me, was it your father's best friend who was a Muslim
Yeah,
Poniwala? Was it your
yeah,
grandfather's? I was just trying to
yeah,
remember
yeah,
that.
yeah, 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 yeah. Neighbor,
But
our neighbor. Yeah, our
your
neighbor.
neighbor. Manish, I'll end with you. This dharna that we're seeing, this protest, what will it, how will this be addressed? What are you expecting should happen? Is there, has everyone made up their mind that after what's happened to Rahul, people must be allowed to go to Jammu?
See, what I take from all this is government's criminal apathy. For all these years, they haven't delivered any promise to us, and they are not going to do anything about it. They are going to sit tight over it. They are going to let us protest, go to Jammu, and then they will harass us. They will send us explanation notices, suspensions to come back. So I don't hope anything from the government, really, genuinely. They are not
So,
going to do anything about it.
and it's also important to remind people that the 1600 government employees it was meant to be a
6,000.
voluntary thing, not a forced thing,
There are
right, Manish?
6,000 government employees. There are
There's
6,000.
6,000. No, in
Yes,
the
yes,
valley, how many are there?
yes, in the valley. In the valley,
Six.
almost 6,000. Yes, the Prime Minister's package of 6,000 jobs has been fulfilled, completed in this
Okay,
year only.
okay.
Almost 6,000 employees.
Yes. And
Which
you're saying
includes
all
most of
6,000 want to go to Jammu now?
Yes, all of them. See, there are two things. Either you live, either you die. आप जियोगे तो तभी तो आप कुछ कर पाएंगे. It's on your life now. Give us the right to life. What are we asking? What are we asking? We're not asking for anything but our life, right to life. Is it
I
too
was
much?
I was saying that surely the government can't keep you there against your will.
Government can do anything about it. The mighty Indian state, they can lathi charge us, they can tear gas us, they can do anything. They can do anything by using their administrative aspect, by harassing us, by giving us suspension notices, by explaining things to us. There are many people in the administration who are hell bent on harassing the package employees. In October, when the October targeted killings happened, one of the senior most administrators, he gave this video. There was this video conference with all SSPs and DCs, and he directed them to take action against these employees who have gone to Jammu. This is
So you're
Indian
saying
state,
that
state using all its brute force on these hapless Kashmiri Pandit employees. And what do these Kashmiri Pandit employees, what are they demanding? They are demanding the right to life. It's very simple.
yeah. So
Prime Minister Modi has time to give an audience to the director of Kashmir Files. He gives them audience. He promotes that film. The Home Minister has time to give audience to the director of Kashmir Files, to provide him wide security. Prime Minister Modi has not even met the Kashmiri Pandits once in all these 8 years. Has he visited Jagdi refugee camp? Has he visited Bhutanagar refugee camp? Has he visited Purkhu refugee camp in Jammu? Nothing.
Well, my heart goes out
They are
to
all sitting on the dead bodies of Kashmiri Pandits. अपनी कुर्सियों के लिए हमारी लाशों पे बैठे हैं.
अपनी कुर्सियों के लिए हमारे लाशों पर बैठे हैं. My heart goes out to all three of you, in particular to you, Manish, because as a government employee, as you said, those who went to Jammu not feeling safe in the Kashmir Valley, in fact, could face a disciplinary action. And today, the Pandits on a sit-in after the terror killing of Rahul Bhat are saying transfer us all to Jammu, otherwise mass resignations will take place. Thank you. What can I say? I feel so short of words, even though I'm in a profession that is built on the usage of words. Please stay safe, and we'll keep talking to all three of you, Sandeep, Sidharth, and Manish. Thank you, and God bless, and we'll talk soon. Thank you, and take care. It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.